Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Barnes, and I am thrilled to kick off today's Platform Academy session on the Now Assist Readiness Evaluation, or as I like to call it, the problem solver for AI implementations. Now, many of you know me as the regular host for the Platform Academy, but for those who are unfamiliar with my background, I am an outbound product manager for ServiceNow, and my focus is in what the admin needs to know to get started with Now Assist. And I'm a former multi-year developer MVP who loves taking those messy, complex problems and turning them into clean, repeatable solutions. I've led implementations across the admin, developer, or platform owner roles, and well, my happy place is where great development work solves those real world problems. So today's session is personal for me. This is the Now Assist Readiness Evaluation, which turns weeks of manual discovery into a clear picture you can act on. And let's get started with a question. So how many of you have ever started an AI project and realized halfway through that something was missing? And heck, just any implementation. Maybe it was a configuration, a permission, a data issue that you just didn't catch early enough. That's exactly the kind of head up this app prevents. And instead of piecing everything together manually in the discovery phase, you get one clear picture so that you can plan confidently and focus where it matters most. So let's take a look at how we built that picture together. Here's the path we're going to follow as we decode your readiness puzzle. First, we're going to take a look at what is this app, give you a basic overview. Then we're going to take a glance at how to set it up. This is the simplest part of the puzzle. Next, we'll take a look at how to read your results, so decoding the dashboard of findings. Next, we'll dive into a live demo, and then our key takeaways so that you know what data-driven readiness decisions look like. Then we'll end with your Q&A. And by the end, you're going to know exactly how to take an instance from we think we're ready to we know we are ready to implement. So let's exploring how this actually is and how it works. So what is the Now Assist Readiness Evaluation? Think of the Now Assist Readiness Evaluation, or NARE, as your blueprint for AI readiness. It's a free store app that scans your instance, identifies gaps, and then estimates the effort required to resolve them. In other words, you see the whole picture before you start implementing. And what it's designed for is to assess readiness for Now Assist and agentic AI, to estimate the remediation effort, and then to provide those direct links so that your developers can take action on that information. This way, instead of guessing or building spreadsheets to track what's missing, you get those clear, actionable insights right in your instance. So on that note, I do want to ask another question. Just how many of you ever thought to yourselves that it just seems improbable that the best way to start an AI implementation is to pull out a list or a spreadsheet and then have to manually check all of these places in your instance to find where your future pain is going to be? This tool ends that pain. So let's now take a look at why this matters, whether you're an admin, developer, or a platform owner. So when it comes to starting with an AI product implementation, the biggest challenge isn't usually the code, it's the unknowns. You don't know what's configured as it needs to be, you don't know what data is missing, or how much work is really ahead. And this uncertainty can derail timelines with scope creep before you even start. So here's where NARE helps with implementing AI search, virtual agent, ITSM, CSM, and HRSD for Now Assist, as well as agentic AI for ITSM and CSM. So here admins can see what's blocking readiness before go live. Developers get a clear map of where to focus those remediation efforts. And platform owners get those predictable estimates for scope and timelines. And it's taking your implementation planning from manual and reactive to proactive and automated. So think about your last implementation. What would have changed if you had had a report that said, here are your top 5 blockers, and this is how to fix them before kickoff? Well, let's see how to get that for your next AI implementation and see how simple it is to set up this app. So when you install the Now Assist Readiness Evaluation, step 1, you run one scheduled job. It's a Gen AI, agentic AI assessment. Good things to know is your prerequisites are you have to be on Yokohama or Zurich or later. And then you need to have installed the app from the plugin manager. And you'll also want to make sure that you have admin to run it. After all that's done, you run that scheduled job. You then run in, and if you're implementing HSRD, there's an additional step to approve the restricted caller access privileges. So yeah, that's right. This app respects the typical HRSD access limitations. Plus, it's really important to note that this evaluation doesn't use any assists. It does not require any Now Assist licensing to already be in existence. And none of the data leaves your instance. It's all run locally in the instance you've installed it on. So this setup is secure, as well as it only takes minutes, not hours or days, to get the information for the findings. And you can also schedule this to run automatically weekly so that your readiness stays current as the configurations evolve. Once you've got your results, though, that's when the real fun begins, so that you can decode those and see what they mean. So now let's take a look at the dashboards. So here we see the whole picture come together. This dashboard includes 6 key reports. First is your total issues. How many findings exist across your products? 2 is going to be the total estimated effort in days. How long remediation might take an average developer working a 7 or 8 hour day. Please note, these are estimates. Some developers work faster, some work slower, so we did our best to make it a general number. Next, we have our estimated effort by category, so what kind of work it is. Issues categorized, so where your biggest weaknesses are, and then the estimated effort as trends, so how the effort is going to change over time. And then the issues and trends is how your readiness is improving. And this is not just about spotting red flags, it's about understanding patterns over time. So now let's take a look at how these numbers can translate into real go or no-go decisions. And that is on our next page of the dashboard. So this is your readiness checkpoint. In NARE, you summarize your overall score per plugin, and it breaks it down into 3 categories. Go means it's over 75% that your instance is in strong shape for the implementation. No-go, below 75%, means there's still some work to do. Please note that the goal is not to get a perfect score. It's to focus effort where it's going to matter the most for you. And it also lets you know on this dashboard what kind of work is needed, whether it is a data issue, meaning cleanup of data is needed, a configuration issue, meaning access or customizations exist to where we need to make sure and maybe make some configuration adjustments. And last is the product issues. You may need to open a Now support case for these most likely. And like I said, we're not trying that perfect score. We all work in an enterprise environment. We know that what works for our company sometimes has to be configured or tailored to a certain point. And that's okay. This just gives you the effort to focus on what may cause a concern with implementing AI, or what may not. So now let's dig one layer deeper into the findings themselves. All right, this is our most actionable view in the app. every finding is color-coded and linked to the record or configuration that needs attention. Green checkmark means no action needed. A yellow is a warning, basically review before implementing. And then red is going to be a blocker. Probably need to fix this before you go live. And it's also really cool to say that while the dashboard in ServiceNow requires admin to access, you can download these reports with the simple button and share them with your team or stakeholders for the different policy owners or platform owners that you may have. And it even is able to be filtered by category or product. And that means you can assign remediation directly from the data. No spreadsheets required. So this is how we decode the theory. Now let's take a moment and switch gears and see what this looks like in action for our live demo. All right, so this is where everything we've talked through comes to life. In the demo, I'm going to show you how to install and run the assessment, walk through the dashboard findings, and review the example of prioritizing remediation. So first, go to all, type in plugins. Those of you who already know how to do plugins, probably not going to need this, that link. But here we go. Inside of here, you look for Now, Assist, Readiness, Evaluation. And you'll come into here and install the app. And once again, you can see it's compatible Zurich and Yokohama. Now, once this is installed, the next thing you're going to want to do is get it set up. You're going to go in and configure that one. You're going to go in and configure that one scheduled job as well as the restrictor caller list, which I've already done. So let's go straight into our workspace. So we'll go to workspace and then Now Assist Readiness Evaluation to get to that. And from here, it takes us to the landing dashboard. Now with this, we can see those 6 beginning reports. And the first panel is for Agentic AI. The next one is for the Now Assist assessments. And note, big numbers are not bad. They just could be something simple, easy to solve with data, but they are easy to dive into and see what they are. I like these because they give my stakeholders that first easy glance of what we're looking at. But my true favorite is going into our homepage for our go, no-go. Here, we can see that for Agentic AI, we're pretty set. ITSM, 94%. Most of those issues are a configuration issue. Agentic AI, mostly set there as well, 89%. Now, when it comes to our Now Assist, I'm going to point out, I decided that rather than show you an instance where everything looks perfect, let's get one that actually has some issues and some things that need to be resolved. So in here, we see AI search is good to go. Virtual agent is only at 73%. Now Assist for ITSM, good to go. Same for HRSD. And for CSM, not good at all. Now, if you get zeros, if your CSM result comes back as it has no findings, what this means is you probably have less than 50 cases in your instance, in which case the assessment basically says you don't have enough data for us to know whether you're in a good shape or a bad shape. So you're in no shape at all. So that's what the 0 translates to. Now, with each of these, for example, virtual agent, I can see that 81% of my concerns are going to be in data issues and 18% is going to be in configuration issues. And I want to dive into more information about that. Now, I could either go to the assessment page to get there or simply click my no-go button or go button, but no-go button and get to that details. This brings me to the details for Now Assist for virtual agents. And in here, I see the questions or the assessments that were run. That's each one of these is Classic Virtual Agent Live, and it tells me which portals it works on. Is NLU Live also a good result? And basically, when I say a good result, I'm seeing these green check marks as positive findings. Those are all good things. In fact, I can see how many of my catalog items are active and how many are conversational. So that's how many. The difference there would be my non-conversational ones. But more importantly, are any of my conversational or items not conversational? So the things that matter. I see that I've got 6% that have variable rows, multi-row variable sets. We've got some catalog client scripts. We've got some unsupported question types that I can dive into. And the information, those will be further down in the page, but that's for information of what may need to be fixed. I can also see what are my top 10 catalog items by usage. What are the conversational items in the top 10 that are conversational? What are in the top 10 that aren't? So these are probably really good opportunities to fix, where it gives us that information to make it work better. And this is where I can click on these links and actually see directly in the question, all right, this particular item has an unsupported custom question, and I can take a look at that question and decide either to adjust the question or remove it, or whether it's needed and make no changes and accept that as a finding. Same with, say, direct deposit. Once again, unsupported question, custom question, that type of thing. It also tells me that we've got a good space with automations as well as what are our catalog names. So all of that is just good, clear information. And that is broken down for each and every one of those subtypes of modules. Now, there is also a summary for this that covers all of the items. And you'll notice it took a few seconds for the dashboard to load. Don't think of that as a bad thing. It just, every instance is different. I'm on a demo instance. It's not the fastest, so it does take a little longer. Your subprods will probably be like that as well. But I can see my overall findings. Most of my work is in virtual agent. Resolution notes are good to go. CSM, like I said, this is where the scheduled job failed. And the reason it failed is I have 0 cases in my instance. CSM isn't installed. So running the assessment does nothing. It has no findings. And each one of these has those green check marks, the yellow warnings, and the red X's. I've also got in here a legend that defines approximate time in days. Remember, 7 or 8 hours for a regular single developer to work on what is small, medium, large, or extra large mean. All right, and our last tab is the same type of information, but for our agentic AI. And that includes currently ITSM, which has 2 use cases for categorizing incidents or generating change request plans, as well as CSM. All right, now that we've gone through our demo, let's take a quick moment to switch back to our PowerPoint. Take a look at our takeaways for the presentation. Now, what we want to do is make sure that you are making the most of your readiness results. And to do that, we want you to keep 3 principles in mind. First is run it early and often. This is a free store app. It leverages those advanced algorithms and structured assessments, meaning you don't have to worry about readiness. Just run this, have the information at your fingertips, know where to look. Next, setup is simple. It's not a long or complex process. It's designed to be as straightforward and user-friendly as possible. Next, the dashboard organizes data into those key reports. So go, no go, and each of those link to the reports for the findings with links for remediation. That's really important to help let you know this is best done in a subprod, because that a way you can actually fix the instances of findings in your development instance, like you do all of your regular development work. All right, so now let's see if we've got any questions. Yes, yes, we do. I love it. Okay, so first question is, what family version must you be on to use this tool? We've got either Yokohama or Zurich, or it will be future compatible, so everything after Zurich, so everything after Yokohama, basically. Next is agentic AI ready for HR on the roadmap? That's a very good question. As you saw with what we demoed, the Now Assist for HRSD is already in existence, and we are looking for around middle of next year having the agentic AI readiness for HR as well. Safe harbor. Next is the tool available for non-Now Assist licensed owners. So can you use this to prepare and know as you're going through? And yes, this app is available for everyone, whether you are in a instance with Now Assist already enabled, whether it's in an instance that has no Now Assist or no licensing for it. It is also even available in your personal developer instance, your PDI. If you have one of those, you can test it out and see how it works there. Next question is, who has access to these dashboards out of box? And the role that's required is admin. I think I mentioned this before, the answer for our next question, which is, should this be run in production or a sub-production instance? I strongly recommend running it in a subprod. So close your production instance data into the subprod, run the assessment there. And then once that's done, you can have the links to the findings right there. Technically, it would work just as well in production, but if you had the findings in production, you wouldn't be able to actually fix that or do the development to resolve the issue straight in the instance that you're looking at the findings in. So it just simplifies things for your developers and for your release management process. All right, and then does this application know what Now Assist products you are licensed for? The answer is no. We have built this to be agnostic of that knowledge, because we want it to provide you the information wherever you are in your path towards getting Now Assist started, whether you are already licensed for it or whether you're not, whether you have all of the skills implemented or you've only got 1 or 2 skills implemented. It's flexible for wherever you're at. You need to know what the licensing is. This simply tells you what is the lift for implementing it once you're licensed for it. All right, then we've got a question about issues identified. How can we drill into more details? Very nice. So that initial dashboard with the colorful reports, and let me pull up my demo instance. So this one, this here is not drill inable. Clicking on any of this doesn't do much of anything at all. But from the go, no go, you can go ahead and dive into, for example, agentic AI for CSM, and see here what is the information for CSM. And then it has those links to the information. I see there are no KB articles for this data. Or for my other finding, I've got one customization to email handling logic. Take a look there. All right, very good question. And then our question regarding what is the benchmark for percentages that determine go or no go. Greater than 75 is go. Equal to or less than 75% is no go. All right, and then what happens when an item is not conversational? All right, we're gonna have our expert Tosan in the Platform Academy in the next couple of weeks. So come back and ask him. He'll have some great answers. But I believe what it does is it can find the thing, it can find the item and link to it, but it can't help them answer and fill out the catalog request in the chat box that they are interacting with. All right, so next is, does NARE include any AI functionality? In other words, would they need approval for that to run it? Every platform is different, or every company is different as to what approval you need, but there is no Now Assist in this package, so it shouldn't be as complex. All of the data is evaluated locally on your instance. None of it is sent away, and it uses no assists or trial assists as it runs the assessment. All right, and then are there more agentic agents / workflows for ITS in the plan for the assessment? Yes, very similar to the answer for HRSD for agentic AI. We do have the roadmap to add more assessments. These are just the ones we are starting with, so keep an eye out for that in the new year. All right. And thank you all for those amazing questions. All right, on that note, I want to remind you we will have coming up our next session for process minding on Tuesday, as well as after that Thursday of next week, we'll have John Lind coming in with streamlining enterprise deployments with the new Release Ops app, a smarter way to deliver change. I really like this because I think it will make a huge difference for the release process, for how development work goes from your sub-prods, prods, instances. All right, and on that note, I want to thank you all again for joining us. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we will see you next week.